Hello and welcome to the Wicked Things podcast. Haven, the story of lightning is one of the few story series created specifically for younger listeners. This is a fast-paced story full of magic, conspiracy, fantasy, talking animals, and exploration of a primeval world that awaits the listener. We hope you enjoy.
Shadow laughed, seeing Striper's unconscious body spat on top of the pile of fallen allies in front of him. The wolf licked his chops as he rejoined his packmates.
Excellent. This should definitely draw my nephew out of hiding.
Shadow chuckled. You want us to reset the ambush for him? The lead wolf asked. Shadow shook his head, no, but then a vile grin pulled back the corners of his mouth.
No. In fact, drag Tremere's body out here too.
The wolves joined in his laughter. Boss, I like the way you think, the lead wolf complimented. She turned and nipped at two of her pack members. You heard him. Drag her out. The two selected wolves jumped quickly into action. Shadow smirked and puffed his chest in pride.
Break the enemy's will by showing them the atrocities you're willing to inflict to keep power.
He narrowed his eyes, watching the selected wolves enter the corral and drag his daughter's dying body out into public view. The lead wolf watched her packmates, knowing they were more than ready to deal with any threat. She turned to comment about her packmates' effectiveness. She paused in confusion. She noticed Scout, sitting on a low-hanging tree branch near Shadow, whispering into his ear. Scout and Shadow glared at the lead wolf. Scout gestured for her to remain silent. Shadow stared the lead wolf down.
Can I help you with something?
The lead wolf broke eye contact to focus on the pile of bodies at Shadow's feet. Shadow's horn glowed, causing the vines to rush back across the corral, concealing his hostages. He then turned to Tremere and the allies' unconscious bodies. His horn glowed brighter than before. Thorn-covered vines wrapped around the pile in front of him, which pulled the bodies below the ground, leaving only their heads above ground. The lead wolf laughed, but her suspicions were present. What now, boss? She asked Shadow. His eyes searched the clearing, spotting each of the wolf pack present.
I think you have done just about enough.
He smiled, and thorn-covered vines assaulted the wolf pack. The wolves, while paranoid, did not expect this betrayal so soon. The vines made quick work of the wolves, entangling and snaring each. The wolves howled and fought against the vine, but each victim was then pulled below the ground. Lightning and Keeper neared the clearing, but stopped in their tracks, hearing the dying howls of the wolves. They looked at each other and knew right away that this would not be as easy as they had planned. Lightning had noticed that Keeper was moving slower than he recalled. Keeper saw the worry distracting Lightning from his task. Keeper stared at his pupil and shook his head.
Mind your business, boy.
This uncharacteristic reaction from Keeper froze Lightning in his tracks.
Fine. Since you will not keep going unless we address this, talk.
Keeper's disappointment was nearly palpable. So, what's going on with you? Lightning worried aloud.
When I remained behind on the eternal shore, I needed answers to the things I've been feeling. I spoke with my guides about my concerns.
Keeper offered to Lightning. Keeper knew quickly he would need to explain further.
They explained that my use and abuse of the island's magic over the centuries has taken its toll on my physical body. I am within my last couple of years of exchange to make use of this magic.
Lightning's eyes widened, and he sighed. Then why are you here? You should be at home safe, not out here getting ready to fight with Shadow. Keeper scoffed at Lightning chastising anyone, but he was happy that the unicorn was growing up.
Look, I'm not dying,
Keeper shrugged.
but I can only use the magic maybe once or twice more.
Keeper tried to ease Lightning's mind. He could see that Lightning was unhappy with the response, but the time was growing short.
Okay then, I plan on doing all the hard work anyway. Please try to stay clear once the fighting starts.
Lightning pled with the stubborn turtle.
I will keep him focused on me. You find and work with the others to get everyone clear of the fight. I'm sure it will not take Shadow long before he abuses his control of the magic,
he said. Lightning tried to stare down Keeper. To him, he was finally ready to take responsibility for his actions. Keeper agreed with a shrug and motioned for his pupil to lead the way. Shadow could sense his nephew well before they entered the clearing.
Welcome, nephew.
Shadow's words conveyed every ounce of contempt he had for his family.
Shadow?
Lightning practically spat his name out. Shadow chuckled, seeing Keeper at Lightning's side.
Still alive, Keeper?
Keeper refused to reply, to keep the upcoming battle focused on Lightning and Shadow.
Don't worry about him, Shadow.
Lightning moved to obscure Shadow's vision of Keeper. Shadow sized up his nephew.
Well, aren't we all grown up?
Shadow and Lightning stomped towards each other. Their faces showed their contempt. High overhead, the sun was blotted out by the swirling clouds of a tropical storm. Howling winds and a torrential rain pounded all of Haven, driving the inhabitants to seek shelter. Keeper raised his arm to protect from the rain.
What the?
Keeper spotted the injured and unconscious bodies of their friends. Keeper moved as fast as his elderly body would allow to reach the fallen. Shadow smiled, hearing and seeing Keeper's reaction.
Ashes to ashes, dust to dust.
Lightning lost his composure and launched himself at his ghoulish uncle. Shadow expected nothing left from his nephew and easily sidestepped the diving attack. He spun, placing his shoulder against Lightning and pushing him off balance. Shadow sliced through the air at Lightning's exposed side, scraping a Z pattern into Lightning's side. Lightning allowed the force of the attack to bounce him further away from Shadow. Just a scratch, Lightning goaded Shadow. Lightning felt a pain rip through his body from the scratch, running deep into his chest. Something forced his breath out as muscle spasms twisted his ribs. He gasped and gagged to catch his breath. Shadow's horn glowed, and Lightning's wound was haloed by the same green energy.
It's not the scratch that hurts, it's what's scratching you.
Shadow stalked closer to Lightning. Shadow rose on his hind legs and drove his front hooves down hard onto his back. The force of the blow sent Lightning tumbling to the ground with an impactful thud. Lightning found his way back to his feet before the second attack could catch him. Shadow's hooves dug deep into the wet ground with a disturbing splorch. Shadow was enraged by missing his attack and growled.
Hold still, damn it. You're getting slow, old man.
Lightning antagonized. Lightning and Shadow circled again, looking for an opening to attack. Lightning darted from side to side, seeking an opening in Shadow's defenses. Shadow fell for the trick and moved to counteract, horn thrusting first, but missed. Lightning spun around and drove both hind legs into Shadow's throat. The attack lifted Shadow high off the ground. Keeper turned when he overheard the bone breaking. Snap! Shadow collapsed after returning to the ground. Lightning faced Shadow after the attack. He studied Shadow as he lay on the ground, to one side, choking and gagging. Lightning stared down at Shadow. I'm sure that was my father's thoughts when you betrayed and killed him. Or even," he looked at Tremere taking her last breaths, "what your own daughter thought as her own father betrayed her." Shadow gagged and spat as his throat continued to collapse from the attack. Shadow snarled and narrowed his eyes at Lightning. He commanded his magical energy to heal his wound. His snarl became a smile as the energy moved down from his horn to his injury. Lightning had no mercy for Shadow and stomped down with all his might on Shadow's horn. The black unicorn's horn shattered into 100 pieces. A fountain of blood and magical energy burst out of the base of the now broken horn. Keeper yelled for his voice to be heard above the storm as the winds were getting stronger and more lightning strikes assaulted the island.
"Now! Do it now! Take in the power and save Haven!"
Lightning pushed his horn into the fountain of magic and closed his eye to focus his intent. Haven. As the last syllable of the island's name left his lips, the magic directed itself at his horn. Lightning found himself under attack from within by the green fire-like energy that flowed from his uncle's body. Lightning screamed as his body fought to tame the power of both the Alpha and his uncle's magical essence. The green flame burned several patches across his body as it tried to burn its way out of him.
"Focus!"
yelled Keeper. Lightning's eyes flashed open as the green flame threatened to burn them out. He screamed as the pain continued to push him to his limits. He could do little more than watch as the flame slowly took his sight, leaving him in absolute darkness, his uncle's flame still burning its way through him. Keeper's concern for Lightning was obvious, but his attention was on the corral. The corral had taken one of the direct strikes from the lightning and was burning. Keeper rushed to open the corral as the screams of burning animals from inside filled his ears. Keeper looked around and knew he had to call upon the magic of the island to tame the storm and save those dead or dying. He centered his thoughts and calmed his mind. A warm golden glow surrounded the ancient turtle. Keeper opened his eyes and looked up. The storm clouds parted and the lightning ceased. He turned to the burning corral, and the vines covering it withdrew, smothering the fire. He then faced his fallen allies, and the thorn-covered vines sunk into the earth. The vines gently expelled Striper, Robert, and the twins above the ground, but unexpectedly joined by the fallen wolves. Keeper's skin wrinkled and sagged further with each expenditure of the magic used. He looked at Lightning as he clenched his fist. The green flame extinguished itself, and Lightning's wounds healed under his command. Keeper's flesh turned an ash white, and small flakes fell to the forest floor.
Wasn't that terrific? I can hardly wait for the next episode. This is the Wicked Things podcast signing off. Until next time, goodbye.